Mr. Edit Man presents. Some lady rolled down her window, yelled obscenities at me, flipped me off, then crashed into a pole going 40 miles per hour. What instant karma in driving have you guys had? I was pulling out of a parallel parking spot in front of a red light, 20 feet ahead, with cars stopped ahead and behind me. The car behind me waved me in. Such a gentleman. But the BMW sports car behind him was in a hurry, so he speeds up and around the car in front, cutting me off, all the while giving me the cockiest look like haha you're a chump, because he managed to get one car length ahead. While he is sneering, he hits the Aston Martin in front of him hard. I was half overwhelmed, half dying of laughter. Justice like that is truly rare. To sum it up, car cuts me off in a douchy, obnoxious way, rear ends an expensive car in the process. Had an asshole in a Hummer riding my ass at the speed limit, down a steep, snowy hill, in the right lane, in the middle of winter, like 20-30 seconds away from a light that clearly had less than 15 seconds left before turning. After about 5 seconds of being 2 feet from my bumper, he decides to change lanes and floor it in an attempt to cover the last 20 seconds of ground in the 10 seconds left. About 200 feet short of the intersection, the light turns red in the moor and finally decides it would be a good time to start slowing down. He slid through the red light, clipped the rear end of a tractor trailer, and took out the traffic light at the far end of the intersection. For bonus marks, it turned out there was a cop a few hundred feet behind us, and, being well uphill of us, had a nice clear view of the idiot weaving through traffic and accelerating to nearly twice the speed limit towards a light they could not possibly make. We were living in Cleveland at the time, and my dad was driving home in his old Cutlass. Massive blizzard moves in on his way home. Snow falling so bad you can barely see. He's driving slow, like 15-20 miles per hour because of the conditions. Guy pulls up next to him and motions for him to roll down his window. My dad, thinking something is wrong, rolls down his window. Guy then calls my dad a pussy, flips him off, and tells him to learn how to drive, then speeds off. About 5 minutes later, my dad rolls up on an accident where someone smashed into a telephone pole. Turns out, it was the asshole from earlier. So my dad slows down, rolls down his window, flips the guy off, and tells him he needs to learn how to drive. One of the happiest moments I ever saw my dad when he came home from work. I frequently go to this park to mountain bike or road bike. It has a long loop that's only open in one direction to vehicles. The other is for pedestrians. On a nice summer evening, I'm driving home when a car pulls in going the wrong way. I honk at him and points to the one-way sign. He flicks me off and yells something about me being a spick ... But there is a cop car right behind me, which lights him up immediately. There is a busy road through town where I live. It's normally 2 lanes, but over the winter the right lane was shut and the speed limit was reduced to 15 miles per hour while they laid new sewer pipe. I was driving the posted speed limit when a lady in a BMW gets behind me and starts waving her arms and flashing her lights. When we got out of the roadworks, she flipped me off and stepped on the gas, accelerating to 45-55 miles per hour. She was still accelerating when she passed the cop parked in front of the local elementary school. It was a school day, so I think that ticket was a large one. Driving my dad old trail Jeep back from a BBQ one night, an old 1965 Willys, on a back road, doing about 35 miles per hour. Now, we had this Jeep as a kind of rally support vehicle, lights all over the place, extra battery and everything. It's about 4 AM, nobody in front or behind us, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere from behind us, comes a whatever sports car ... I immediately switched to the right lane, giving him ample space to pass me. Instead of taking the offer, the jerk gets behind me and starts honking and flashing his high beams. This goes on for about a minute, while I try to figure out what exactly is he complaining about, till I figured out he was really just trying to mess up with me ... By then, my dad is already half awake when I instruct my GF to open the glove compartment, flip the 4 top switches and the one on the left. She asks me about it, and I just tell her to do it and see. She starts flipping them, and just as my dad yells from the backseat, "Do not do it," she flips the last one. All of the lights around the center column, 6 on top, 4 each side, plus 4 high beams on the rear bumper, all light up like 1,000 suns, right in front of this jerk's eyes. He slams the brakes so hard, his car immediately spins about 720 before regaining control and stopping. She flips the lights off and away we go. He just stood there behind us, half a mile or so, all the way until we got off the road, never again trying to pass us. I was riding my motorcycle down the freeway when some asshole threw half a McDonald's milkshake out of the window, still in its cup. Through some random fluke of physical dexterity, I caught it. It would have hit me in the chest. Near enough. I caught up to the guy in traffic a minute later. His sunroof was open. So I returned the cup. Do not throw malarkey out of your car windows. Assholes. Some snotty high school girl was behind me in a car once, beeping and flashing her lights, apparently complaining that I was going too slow. As soon as the road widened to 2 lanes, she gunned it and went around me, flipping me off as she went past, because apparently I drove the speed limit just to vex her. About 30 seconds later I saw her car pulled over by a cop in an active school zone. She was out of the car being handcuffed. They only arrest if you've been doing an excessively high rate of speed, but in a school zone it doesn't take much. She saw me as I went by going 20 miles per hour. I blew her a kiss. 1 AM in the middle of town at a stoplight. A nicer Mustang pulls up alongside me, in a stock Corolla, and starts revving his engine, calling me a ditch, while his girlfriend was laughing. I ignore him and turn up my music. He peels out, takes off and goes around the bend. That's when I see the cop pull out of a parking lot on side of the road. I slow down and wave to the guy as he is pulled over. He flips me off just as the cop is walking up to his window. I'm driving down a main road in my town at about 2 AM. I take the route every day, so I know there are cops ahead. So I'm driving about 5 below the limit. Some cockroach decides to blow by me, crossing into oncoming traffic and almost hits an oncoming car. He swerved back as quickly as possible, nearly clipping my front bumper. I look in my rear view and see lights go on. Idiot almost hit a cop. He never decides to slow down at all. Speeds up and bam. Out of a parking lot a cop pulls out in front of him and he T-bones the cruiser. Karma at its finest. If I had $1 for every time some idiot passes me at 90+ miles per hour and ends up pulled over 2 miles down the highway, it'd have $8. That means it happened 8 times. Actually it was 11 times, but taxes are a ditch. Some guy cut me off once in a roundabout in the most dickish way possible, nearly causing me to crash into him. I slammed on my brakes and I was seething with anger. Fast forward 10 minutes later, some other guy, Doucher Master Flex, decides to cut off the first guy. Let's call him Piss Flaps off. So they get into this bit of road rage war, trying to cut each other off, and I got caught in the middle. I call the cops because I noticed one of the guys had his kid in the backseat and this was not about to end well. Turned out there was a cop in an *UNMARKED car literally a few cars up ahead of me. He couldn't see what was going on when they radioed him, so he slowed down, letting traffic pass him by as these assholes are still going on with their stupid testosterone fueled war. The cop pulls over Piss Flaps, and another cop pulled over the Doucher Master Flex up ahead. Hahaha. How do ya like Matic now? Guy thinks he can beat freeway traffic going 80+ mph down the shoulder. Guy gets pulled over and must then endure the jeering of all the drivers he sped past as they slowly roll by. I was driving south on I-684 New York morning rush about 4 years ago. Anyone who knows this road knows that the average speed in the middle lane is 75-80. If you are going under 80, stay out of the left lane because some asshole in a monster truck is going to ride your tail until you get out of the lane. This morning I was in the left doing around 70. Traffic was extremely heavy and all lanes were moving around the same speed. I was in the end of what I call a pod. Bunch of cars all going the same speed so no one can really pass. I looked in my rear view and see a seat BMW coming up on me real fast. Within seconds he was 3 feet off my bumper leaning on his horn. I knew that slamming on my brake might give me satisfaction. I did not relish the idea of a rear ender. So I just took my foot off the gas and started to coast. This enraged the asshole even more and he pulled out from behind me, cutting someone in the middle lane off and proceeded to cut me off and get in front. I knew he was going to slam his brakes on to teach me a lesson and had already prepared by starting to brake myself. He was half in my lane at about a 30-degree angle when he tromped on the brakes, sending him and his car into a skid across all 3 lanes. Amazingly no one hit him, but when he went off the right shoulder he rolled the beamer. I witnessed this in my rear viewpoint. I went to the next exit and did a U-turn and got to the accident scene. A New York State trooper was already there. The moron was sitting in the grass next to his wrecked car. I told the trooper the story as to what happened and he said they would call if they needed to. I never heard anything from them. It's hard to believe that someone that stupid is still alive. Like, pull in front of someone at 70 and then stamp hard on the brake. That's what we call committing a murder-suicide where I come from. Backstory. I was in cadets as a kid, and one of the leaders was this cop named Bird. We always called each other by last name. He became a good friend and we always joked around. He definitely is the coolest cop I ever met. Before I moved he always used to pull me over. Sirens and everything. Just to have a chit chat and scare the malarkey out of me. Best cop ever. But I digress. I was driving in my hometown. After dropping off my girlfriend, I stopped at a stop sign behind a truck. There was a dirt road leading to a trailer park right before the stop sign and he missed his turn apparently. So instead of turning around he decides to reverse into me, making his hitch go through my bumper. He then decides to take off. While normal people would just take his license plate number, I did not. I chased that methodica down. He had a malarkey truck kind of looking like this, while I had my 2006 Cobalt LT, and I can go a lot faster than him. So I follow him, and after about a 7-minute chase, you guessed it, Officer Bird saw us. We were going about 120 km/h in a 50, so it was easy to spot us. Officer Bird recognized my car and knew something was up. So he pulled beside me and looked at me and nodded. I knew that look. I eased off the gas and he went in front of me and pulled over the truck. After the guy was detained I approached Bird and told him everything. The guy admitted to it and he was arrested. But wait, there's more. Bird ended up searching his truck and found about 4 ounces of pot and about 3 kilos of coke. He is still serving jail time last I heard. Definitely a win in my books. To sum it up, guy hit me and ran. Followed him and met up with awesome cop. Ended up to be one of the biggest drug busts in my little town. If you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. Click the thumbs up button since you made it until the end. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch another video. That's it. There is no more here. What are you waiting for, a secret message or something? Okay. This is not a secret, but subscribe for more edit videos like this.